As a content warning, CSAM and CE of all kinds. This page contains mentions and a general descriptions of CE and CSAM. What is child exploitation? The use of a minor to gain personal or financial advantage is how I think Nick Mick describes it. But I'm thinking of solutions. The first solution is strengthening parents. Absolutely anything should be done to avoid the damage that child exploitation brings. And absolutely a lot of things can be done about that. A lot of things can be done about that. That's the problem. That's what I'm pissed off about. Parents should not only have a high age limit for when their child uses the internet, but they should also keep the internet as safe as possible if the kid does use the internet. And that can be done too. The United States Postal Inspection Service said, "Your early involvement and open communication can prevent your child from becoming a victim of a predator." And this is like a whole epidemic. Child exploitation. The United States Postal Inspection people were the first ones to work with CSAM and fight CSAM. The first government institution. It's also worth it to escape from dependencies on cities and governments and computers and money. Is it not? And parents. In the description, there's a letter. And you don't have to be a parent to share the letter or read the letter. But there's a letter. It's just a little letter. It's a letter. Just it's like a letter template more so. But it's something that I typed out that you can read that's educational. And it introduces you to the danger. It's meant to introduce parents to the danger of our time with tech-based child exploitation, which is everywhere in all kinds of forms. I would recommend sharing that letter with a parent that you know, or like say that you see a parent whose kid has like an iPad in public. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that would be a good time to maybe get their phone number and then share with them this letter. You don't have to write the letter. I already wrote the letter. And you can fact check everything in the letter. That's that's strengthening parents. That's safety by design and strengthening parents. And this is so important. I'm not going to talk about anything else, but how important is that? That parents know what's going on? Because apparently not every parent knows what's going on. So if we could just get every parent to know in the whole world, that'd be nice. Then I could sleep. Then I could sleep at night. Then I could celebrate. Yeah, like it. So I'll actually just read the letter that we're working on that is meant to introduce parents and outline this in a very simple way. So, dear caring parent or guardian. Caring parent or guardian. There's an epidemic recently of online child exploitation. Or, I guess more generally, technology and software-based child exploitation. There are these systems that the world has made that are easily exploitable. And it's very, very easy for a child to be exploited on these platforms. It happens every second of every day. And it happens to every person I know, maybe. Every person I know who's used the internet in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's just like addictive platforms or just the addictiveness of technology. And it can range from that up to like actual doxing and death threats and kidnapping. But simply, we should do everything we can to disarm predators and this destructive technology. They lead to child exploitation. And I have proof of this, endless proof. So I'm just going to give you some information on the dangers so you can be aware if you aren't already. So if you're a parent and you don't know what's going on, then you're obligated to care about this. Because this is like the main enemy of our time, it would seem. And so there's a link for keeping your kid safe. I personally recommend that you don't let your kid use the internet at all until they're like 15, maybe 14 through 16. Right? Because you can't just give your kid technology that's like destructive and dangerous. You can't just do that. That's wrong if you don't know what's going on. So like, what about 15 or 16? You know, when the kid is like developed enough to like maybe make some decisions, but I don't know, maybe 14. You pick the age, but it shouldn't be 3. It shouldn't be 5. It shouldn't be 6. That's too young. Too young to give your kid a fucking iPad. Because there are so many dangers. This is how bad it can get, and I link to how bad it can get, like an actual outline of exactly how bad it can get. It gets very, very bad. It's a pure nightmare, and only parents should read how bad it can get, because it'll make you want to die if you have any sense of like care for the world. So yeah, but that's okay though, because it's educational. Not to guilt trip you, not to make you afraid, but to tell you. Actually, maybe I do want to make you afraid a little bit, because I'm afraid. And I think maybe there should be some level of fear in the world that we've created, the technology. It's really dangerous. This topic is very personal to us, and we know the horror that can potentially happen with free and unsupervised internet access. And if you haven't seen it yourself, in the description there's some information about the addictiveness of technology. The addictiveness. So at the very least, if your child isn't going to be exploited, by the way, I think 1 in 7 children, or maybe it's girls or something, who use the internet are approached online by a predator in some way. At least like 1 in 7. That's definitely gone. That's probably gone up over time, but yeah, we know the horrors, and so if all of that doesn't happen, then at the very least the kid's gonna get addicted to like this thing that's like really kind of bad for you. It's not good to be addicted, and the technology that we have nowadays is some of the most addictive stuff ever, especially pornography. Early porn introduction is when a 9-year-old or something like discovers porn for the first time, and they're hooked for, at least like 5 years. And hopefully they have a good way to quit, but if not, then they'll just be addicted to porn. And it's usually like a progressive addiction that kind of gets worse over time. And it's desensitizing and disgusting, and it's distracting, and it's addictive. Gosh, dude. Isn't that terrible? By the way, trust me on this. Every single person that I've talked to who has been involved in porn has gotten into it at a young age. Like, maybe 9. Maybe, I want to say, like, 7 through 13. But it's usually younger, like, let's be honest, right? Because of the technology that we give our kids. I don't do it. I'm not going to give my kids that technology because I know the dangers, right? So I care about this topic. And I need to tell you that I care about it, and that I've put some things together that can help you stop the problem in an easy way. It doesn't have to be a hard way. You don't have to write anything yourself. I wrote everything. I did all the research already. Not all of it. Like, there's still more to learn, but it's just like, I did enough research, apparently. And so just You have an obligation. If you're hearing this, you have an obligation. And of course, listen to me. Of course, there's replacements for giving a kid a device. There's replacements, of course. There's a link to some replacements. Not every replacement, but yeah. And of course, there's also tons of good information if you're absolutely certain that a developed child, like maybe 13 through 16, can use the internet safely. If you're 100% certain of that, then there's some tools for that. There's an introduction to kind of keeping like your kids safe as they use it. And then there's like specific things like specific tools and software and specific hardware. And so you have an obligation now to either tell a parent about this or I don't know how many parents are going to watch this. Finally, thank you for being a parent. Thank you for caring. As a parent, or as a person taking responsibility, as a parent or a person taking responsibility for this problem, child exploitation, huge problem. I don't need to... Of course you care about that problem. Every human being does. So if you're going to take responsibility in some way, shape, or form, then thank you. And parents, just thank you for being a parent. Like, thank you for being a parent. Thank you. Let's do this. Let's end this. Let's end child exploitation. Because I think we can. Especially the very, very surface level dangers that like mainly have to do with negligence. I think we can prevent that. Don't you want to try? Let's do it.